Hey guys, this is Jennifer Vanderbeek from scrapsoflife.com, and thank you for joining me in this video, which is a Scrap With Me video. In June, Imagine Artists in Residence teamed up with CSI Color Stories Inspiration for their challenges, and I was assigned to case file number 231, which has kind of a superhero animal theme. And I was fortunate enough that this year's Rose Parade had a superhero theme, and we had Duncan with us at the parade, just viewing it. And so, I had perfect pictures for this layout, which was awesome because you guys, it's been a long time since I've scrapbooked, much less done a paper scrapbook layout, which the reason being is because all of my photos are digital. And, back when I switched to all digi-scrapping, one of the big things was that I didn't have to worry about printing out photos. I could, resize them at will. And of course, all of my supplies, they didn't wear out. They were always good. I didn't have to worry about running out of anything. So, um, so this was a bit of a throwback for me, and I had fun. I liked it. Now, I did start on the computer because I needed to figure out how big to print my photos. So first what I did was I took it into Photoshop. I took the sketch that they give you, and I tweaked it, played around with it a little bit to make it kind of, work for my aesthetic, and used that to decide how big my pictures needed to be. And then I was able to put them into a printable document and print them out. Then I went over to the work table and got started. There's some certain elements in the sketch that I wanted to pull in, others that I was like, we'll see how things work. So originally there were 2 photos in the sketch. I expanded it to 3. I like 3s. 3s are nice, the kind of asymmetrical balance to me. And then I worked on the title, which I'm using a combination of, we're going to call these vintage stamps. They were the old Making Memories foam stamps that you could get back in the day. And I still have a couple of sets of the alphabet stamps as well as some decorative foam corner thingies. And then same with the typewriter letter brads. Man, there's a lot of brads in this layout. As you'll see, I'll kind of scatter them around. That is because I hoard my craft supplies. So I have all this stuff and I don't want to get rid of it because you never know when it's going to come in handy. And, brads, they don't go bad. So, if you've got them in your stash, go ahead, pull them out, have some fun with them. Now, some of the other evidence that was suggested in this case file were buckles. I'm using the camera-shaped paperclip as a buckle because I'm going to have the twine, which is another piece of evidence, kind of threaded through there, and just for fun, I'm going to do some stitching on it. Also, we have the color scheme. There's a red, white, blue, yellow, and a turquoise. And I was able to find pretty good matches among my Imagine supplies, including like this Fabrico marker I'm using to color this little wood starburst. Starburst was another evidence element we can include. And I layered it with an epoxy brad from, again, gosh, I bought that set. It has the little round brads and that decorative one in the middle. I bought that one back before our wedding. So that was 2013. So at least that's not quite as old as some of the stuff that I'm using. Now, khaki was not one of the colors, but we're allowed to add some neutrals. And I didn't want a plain white background. That usually, I don't know, it just doesn't do much for me. But khaki seemed to work, but I didn't want it to be completely open either. So that's why I did the splatters with the all-purpose ink. And then we've got the torn piece along one side. That's, I think, Basil Basics red, and then I am using the Delicata white shimmer to add some stars. Stars were another piece of evidence. See how this is all tying together? What I like about this particular challenge, the CSI challenges, I used to do these back just as a digital scrapper, so this is kind of a fun return to a temporary stomping ground of mine, I guess you could say. But what's fun about it is they don't just give you a sketch or a color scheme. They give you both of those, but you have evidence. You have things that, you have to pick so many to include in the sketch or in the layout. And then there's testimony, which is your journaling, and they give you some prompts of how to do that. And it's just a lot of fun because you can just this to see the variety of things that people come up with based on the same inspiration, image, and list of things. It's really cool, and you can get some great ideas. Now, for the foam stamps, I like them because they're nice and big and bold, but I wasn't 100% sure they were going to stamp right or that I was looking at them right because, when it's a clear stamp, you can see exactly which way it's positioned. Not so much with the foam stamps. So I stamped it on a piece of scrap paper to make sure it was going to come out right. And then I don't know if you saw, but I used Scotch tape to hold all the stamps together so that they wouldn't wiggle around on me, keep them relatively straight. And then I used the lid of the stamp pad kind of as an acrylic block almost, only I didn't really need to stick the stamps to it. I just needed something to apply gentle, even pressure, and that worked really well. So if you have any of these big foam stamps and you worry about like pressing on the edges, use something like the lid of a stamp pad or a plastic box or something that's going to keep you from like squishing edges. Now, I ran the ribbon, which I don't remember if I got that one at the Dollar Tree or Joann's. It was a little, like $1 or $2 bit of, coordinating ribbon, and it comes in handy. But I wasn't quite sure how I wanted to put it down on the paper, and I thought, oh yeah, I've got that little Xyron 150, the little sticker maker, and it works fabulously for that. And then I was able to use the design of the ribbon to space the little cuts I made so as to, evenly space my stitches. Now that's a big mamma jamma of a tapestry needle or upholstery needle right there. That happened to be the first large eye needle that I came across. It actually worked really well, allowing me to get, two spots out of each stitch. By all means, you do not have to use one that big. Like I said, I just had that around from bookbinding. It's quite all right. Now, I had a couple of camera battery outages on this, so if you see a jump in the action, as it were, that's what happened. I went through 2 batteries and then had to recharge both of them, so there is a little bit of a gap coming up where I did some stamping off screen because I couldn't stop. I had to keep going, but I didn't want to do too much because otherwise what's the point of videoing it and showing it to you guys? Pen detailing on the stamped super. I really think it makes it pop using white gel pen on one side of each letter or arm and then a tuxedo black memento marker. Works perfectly. And now one of the items we could use for the testimony was to put our journaling in a speech bubble. So totally did that. And then I wanted to reinforce the animal element because that was another bit of evidence. And I had these cute puppy stamps. I believe they're from Paper Smooches. And I just, stamped it real quick, colored it in with some memento markers. It didn't have to be fancy or super blended. It was just kind of to bring home the animal element. And I'm using the big eyeglasses. There was a stamp in there that I was always going to use that says, "You're my Clark Kent," but I decided that the page was kind of busy enough without it once I got the journaling in place, and so I didn't end up using it. But I still like the idea of putting these big oversized glasses on the little puppy stamp because I think it's adorable. And at the end, and I did this after I stopped filming, but I used the On Point glue from Imagine to kind of fill in the lenses and kind of make them a little bit shiny. And that worked kind of well. This is a bit of an X-Acto heavy or craft knife heavy layout. With the brads, especially if I was going through multiple layers of paper, like when I start adding them around the photos and everything, you don't want to have to try and fight to get the brads completely through the paper on your own. Go ahead and use your craft knife or use some sort of piercing tool to start the hole so that, you have a prayer's chance of, not killing yourself or the hard work you put into your layout by rumpling the paper. So here we go. Here's the stuff, some of the stuff I did off screen. I have these clickable letter stamps. I really have a thing for typewriter letter stamps apparently, but I used them to spell out the journaling kind of the way the sketch has it, and I kind of threaded it through the buckle, the stand-in buckle a little bit, and it's a little bit messy, but I think it works. I'm not super worried about it. Again, I never scrapbooked to be perfect. I scrapbooked for the fun of it and for the memories and stuff. So I kind of wish I did more. This is kind of making me want to scrapbook a little bit more now. I still haven't put together our wedding album or our honeymoon album, and oh, it'll most likely be digital and then, printed in photo books. But yeah, this is kind of making me want to finish that and some other projects that I've had kind of cooling their heels on the back burner. This was so much fun. I'm so glad that CSI invited us from Imagine to play along in the June challenges. A full list of everything that I used in this layout, as well as links to Imagine and to the CSI blog, will be in the blog post that's linked in the description down below if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching this on my blog page, well, then you already know where the links are. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Do you want to see more scrap with me, whether, digital or physical? You let me know. Just leave a comment if you liked it. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.